Well, it was almost another special Rinku Singh show, but it just was too many. It will not happen every night. You leave too much to do, the Knight Riders. But well done to the Sunrisers, who ensured they, as it turns out, outbatted their opposition in terrific batting conditions. So good that even when you're 20 for 3, you can get past 200 and keep the game alive. But the points go the way of Aiden Markram's side. That's 2 back-to-back wins. And KKR's little high and that wave they were riding, just been flattened for a little while. It's still early days in the tournament, but we look at this game and its fine moments on ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout with Tom Moody and Ian Bishop. Kept it interesting, Bish, towards the end. Rinku Singh, Rana with quite the innings, but once again, it just seems like not enough pieces of KKR's puzzle come together.
Yeah, well, they went for far too many runs, to be quite honest with you. 228 is not going to be chased every day, but there were some good signs, some good positives for them in that Rana, I've always sort of looked at Rana and thought, once he comes to the crease, I'm bringing back my quick boys and have a dart at him. But he really slashed and played Umran Malik, for example, very well today. So that's a good sign going forward with his captaincy, with his batting, and Rinku Singh.
It's just a good time to be Rinku Singh, isn't it?
Well, I'm wondering when he gets an elevation towards a higher calling, because I saw him last season and there's something about him besides the numbers that we're seeing. You look at his first class record, so I'm hoping an Indian A call-up at least is around the corner for him.
Okay, I know this is sort of deviating, but why not, since Bish has touched upon it? We've now seen that it's not a one-off. It's not one good day. If you count the last couple of innings, even the sort of supporting cast innings he did in the Bangalore game, we go to last year, you see that the merit in Rinku Singh having a bright future for India, because he's not in the conversation at the moment.
Let me just say domestic record as well. He's got a really good domestic record, so it's not just what I'm seeing here in the IPL.
You were saying he's averaging nearly 60?
In first class cricket?
Yeah, well that says a lot
in 40
to me.
games, that's good sample size.
That's a very powerful message, isn't it, that he's doing it in that. But I suppose it's a case of where India see him fitting into what format. What is it that, where Rinku could be part of their white ball campaign, whether it be 20 over cricket, 50 over cricket or test cricket. So that call up, I don't disagree with, particularly if he's backing it up with these big numbers in first class cricket, because at the end of the day, I think it's really important that you recognise and reward people that are doing it day in, day out in your first class environment, because so often we've seen players get elevated out of an IPL performance and they don't have the backdrop of the credentials in first class cricket. So he's doing it now at IPL level, so I think his name will be on the table.
Long list.
Yep.
It is a long list.
It's about to get longer, or somebody just drop out of it. We have quite a few in the medical room these days. Average of nearly 60 in 40 first-class matches, as Ian Bishop rightly points out. Averages 53 in 50 List A games. And he strikes at over 70 in first-class cricket, strikes at nearly 96 in List A cricket. So there's a lot to like about Rinku Singh, and you never know. There are opportunities and sort of places open with injuries and whatnot to the Indian team. Fabulous. Great to have a chat on Rinku Singh with Bish and Tom. Let's look at the misfiring elements of KKR, because it still felt like, Tom, to recover from 20 for 3 and to actually look at equations like 70 of 24 or 80 of 30, whatever it was, and think this is still gettable, tells you that if they just had one or two more pieces firing, they'll look a different side. Why is that not quite happening?
Well, I think they need to look at what's happening at the top of the order, because that's not quite firing at all. If you look at their wins so far, it's all been done through the heavy lifting down the middle to back order. Shardul Thakur in that remarkable innings, provided them a platform which they wouldn't have dreamt of. And then we've, the highly talked about Rinku Singh over that changed the game. So they need some contributions from their top guns at the top of the order. Gurbaz is going to be under pressure. There's no doubt about that, with Jason Roy sitting on the bench, with Linton Das on the bench as well. So there's going to be pressure for that role. He's got 150, but I think it's more about how he's got out around that 150 is a concern. Jagadish looked good tonight, I thought. So, you know, he can easily, if they go for Roy, he could easily take up the role as keeper and hold his position at the top of the order. But they do need to get their top order, their top 3 or 4 sorted out with some sort of consistency of not only performance but personnel. You can't have a revolving door because no one knows what's going on.
4 games, Bish, and we've still seen a score from Jagdishan today. Gurbaz in 1 game, Venkatesh Iyer last game. So I guess the elephant in the room really is under Russell. And that's now perhaps 4 games where you think even if Russell can get me 20 of 6 or 7, maybe I'm in the game. But is that a reasonable expectation? Because like you point out, Russell's going to win you some games, but when he doesn't fire and they come close with these sort of things, you wonder, gee, can we get something in the middle from Russell?
Yeah, you definitely need to get something from him. Just going back to Tom's point there, the other thing that I'm wary of is, you know, we talk, and you've been in that coaching booth yourself, not having that revolving door and creating security for people in knowing that if you allow a guy to play his natural game, that you don't penalize him if he goes 2, 3, 4 games. DC have used a lot of players, for example. So with Russell's body of work, and I don't have him in a race for my own benefit. I think you give him an extended run to see his fitness. You have to find out that from in the dressing room, but you give Russell as much time as possible to get himself. He did a little job with the ball tonight, so that's the other string. But it really is, he'll fire, but the guys at the top. And they've got a lot of talent there. They're a dangerous team. That's the way I would look at this KKR team. Yeah,
I mean, if you think that they're firing without someone at the top and Andre Russell sort of firing on all guns, that even though they're 2 out of 4, there is plenty to look forward to for KKR. Would you go with that?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think they've uncovered some things that we weren't expecting. There's some things that we are expecting, and that is a Russell, you know, performance, match-winning performance, and a few of them throughout a season. And Ryan we're expecting to perform because he does it day in, day out. So there's a few things that are working for him. Yet to have a Lockie Ferguson fire. So, you know, once he suddenly gets hold of you know, his rhythm and consistency, there's another real impact bowler that's 150 plus that's going to add value to that side. So they're not chasing over 200 every time. So there's a lot of upside.
All right, Sunrisers fans, don't worry. We are going to talk about the winning team. It's not all about KKR. So let's look at how it all came together for Hyderabad. And it's only fair on a day where 433 runs have been scored and where 6s were galore, and you could still see the batting side in it even if they needed 30 and over, that we talk about Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who's bowled a maiden. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 29, and effectively an 18th over that ensured even the madness or the improbable could not be repeated. Very good, Ian Bishop?
That's your banker, really, once he's fit, isn't he? Bhuvi, he'll swing it up at top. He's got the skill set to know when to take pace off at the back end, when to go Yorker, when to go straight Yorker, wide Yorker. So I don't worry about him as long as he's fit. I think he's a banker. Natarajan concerns me in that he had a couple of decent outings initially, and then he's gone expensive. That Yorker isn't quite hitting in the way that I saw it hitting. You know him better than I do. 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
So that's sort of a work in progress, but Umran Malik is still coming along. From a batting perspective, the guy that worries me is Mayank Agarwal. 4 seasons last year, hasn't hit his drops yet.
Yeah, all right, we'll come to that. The 2 bowlers do stand out on that scorecard on a day where 400 runs have been scored, Tom. One, of course, is Bhuvi, who we've seen this before, but how about Mayank Markande backing up a 4-wicket all-on debut, changing the overseas balance of the side, and backing that now with 2 for 27 today?
Brilliant for Sunrisers that he's firing, because they've got a world-class wrist spinner sitting in the dugout that could arguably, you know, say that I should be playing in this side, but it enables Sunrisers the flexibility to play an overseas pace bowler in Marco Jansen, or have the option to play a Faruqi. 2 very different types of bowlers, but it gives them that flexibility. I actually said to Bish off air, I thought maybe Faruqi might have been the option they took tonight, purely on the basis that this venue does boast big totals, over 200, and Faruqi has got more defensive skills in his armoury, But a good Yorker, got excellent slower ball, into the wicket slower ball, up, full pitch slower ball. So they've got, with Markande's performance now back to back, it's brilliant for Sunrisers because it gives them that flexibility around how they want to work their overseas combinations to where they play and who they play.
I know you don't use the term loosely or accidentally. You call him a world-class spinner. This is an uncapped spinner who's not been given a lot of love by a couple of his previous franchises.
No, I'm talking about Adil Rashid.
Oh, you keep him out.
Yeah,
Right,
so
okay.
he's the one that's sitting out because they've got a domestic spinner that is doing exceptionally well.
And he got lost in the system for a little while, I think, Mayank.
He was traded and did nothing from Mumbai, Rajasthan, back to Mumbai, has spent some time in Delhi, and Mumbai obviously seemed to have lots of bowling options, but they didn't need him.
But Jansen, to his credit as well, went for a 6, I think, a free hit off his last ball, but 2 games he's done well. And I was just looking at him batting as well in the series against the West Indies, and I saw some strokes that I didn't think he had in his bag, and he's actually batting a lot better than I thought he would have done, so that's an added bonus and good problems to have between himself and Faruqi. I like how Jansen's gone this season.
We should go back to the first innings, and we'll come to Bishop's point on Mayank, but would you be very pleased if you were in that Sunrisers dugout about what we can describe as perhaps a great batting template or a collective performance? A couple of low scores, but you had guns firing at every phase almost of that innings.
Well, they've got, I think, one of the best batting lineups in the tournament, strength-wise. My only concern around that batting lineup was the fact that there's a lot of right-handers. But they have brought Abhishek Sharma back into the side and slotted him in the middle order, and that sort of broke up those right-handers. And it didn't really matter on a surface like that whether you bat left or right-handed. It's a very good batting surface where you could hit through the line once you're in and look out. It's fasten your seatbelt from a bowling perspective. But I think they've got a very dynamic batting lineup. Markram's in red-hot form. Harry Brook, we know, is coming to his first IPL season as a young emerging superstar. You've got Klaasen, who has really proved himself over recent times with South Africa as a dynamic player, particularly against spin. So that's another advantage that they'll have with him in the middle as a spin player. So there's a lot to like about their strength.
Just come in the back of
and Tripathi is
do his thing.
So much to like about what he brings to the table too.
Yeah, but we go to Bishop's point that you touched a little earlier. The only missing piece seems to be the big Indian player they picked up at the auction, Mayank Agarwal.
Yeah, because, his standards are high. Mayank's standards are a lot higher, so the expectation of him is higher. So he got a couple of 20s this season, but I suppose, I'm assuming they'll keep faith with him in that position at the top of the order, but I really wouldn't mind seeing Abhishek back up there. Honestly, that's just me being selfish for a couple of reasons. He was so dynamic for you guys there last year. Yeah. And if he has aspirations to go further, his first preference would be up there, although he'd do whatever the franchise asks him to do lower down. So that's from a selfish perspective that I'd like to see him up there. I don't know. I don't think it'll happen.
Even your selfish perspectives seem to be so selfless for other people.
I wouldn't say that.
What a kind, generous, giving man you are.
I wouldn't say that.
No. All right. Well, Tom's made the point over and over again as to what he would like to see at the top. But given the extraordinary success of Harry Brook up there, you think that's where we'll see Brook for the rest of it? I know it's a bit unrelated to this game, but just looking at how Brook and Markram have taken down the fast bowlers, and that's a good fast bowling lineup. It makes you go back to Lucknow's decision of playing them on the turner. And you wonder if perhaps that's something that we may see more of, just looking at how easy these guys are against some pretty high quality seamers like Lockie Ferguson.
Yeah, there's no question that teams will be looking, and this is the beauty of the home and away setup we have again in the IPL, in that if Sunrisers are travelling, I'd imagine that that they'll be coming across more surfaces that'll be a little bit slower in turn against providing a surface like what they played on tonight, because that's right down their street.
Assuming, of course, that the franchise gets to pick a surface of their choice, like Tom has very honestly told us. Never listened to him at Hyderabad. They didn't know what surface they were playing on. and somehow that doesn't seem to happen at some of the other franchises.
I mean, if you look at tonight's pitch, I mean, I sort of expected it to have a little bit more bite in it.
Yeah, yeah.
For the KKR spinners at home, it didn't seem to have much bite in it.
There's no teeth there.
Yeah, so that kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting a ragger, but just a little bit more hold.
100%.
All right, last couple of questions as we tend to wrap up with. Let's do a captain's review, and this would include tactical bowling changes, selection calls, and other things. So let's start with the losing captain, Nitish Rana. You both were quite critical of the use of his bowlers early on. So Tom Moody, how would you rate Nitish Rana?
Yeah, I think obviously on a personal front he played well tonight, but I think from a tactical point of view, I think they missed a trick with not using Narayan early, and I think Narayan needed to bowl very early and at least 2 overs in the power play.
Bish?
Yeah, that's the way I see it as well. Instead of bowling number 4, bowl number 2, latest number 3.
Should I give him a rating out of 10? Nitish Rana, the captain today?
I don't know if I can go there, but what I will say is I'm sympathetic because he's done it domestically, but in this IPL season he'll learn as he goes forward.
And also the thing is, decisions like that aren't just captains.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be worked out with the bowling coach and the head coach. They would have worked through. Okay, well, how are we looking to sort of structure the first 6 overs? So it's not all on the captain either.
What about Narayan's call on that from a coach's point of view? How much say would Narayan have in that? I want to bowl 2, I don't want to bowl 2.
Well, you know Sonny. I think Sonny's happy to accommodate what the team requires.
Correct.
So if they want him to bowl the first over or the 20th over, he'll do it. Yeah. He just gets it done.
All right. Aiden Markram, the captain today. He had a tough time of it, but after it suddenly sort of seemed to go away in that the first bit was good. But how do you rate Aiden Markram, the captain?
Yeah, I think he's a solid leader. Under 19 World Cup captain now, SA20 winning captain in South Africa in white ball cricket, and he was put under some stress from Nitish there. But I think since he's come in, the stocks have risen for the team, so that must tell you something. Bat and in the field.
Yeah, I quite like his presence in the field. He commands some calmness out there. You rarely see him frustrated, and I think that's really powerful when your leader is showing that sort of consistency of body language, because it's a tough game and people make mistakes, people drop catches, and bowl wides. If you've got a captain that's pretty cool, it helps.
Yep, yeah, there are lots of those today. We saw those. And finally, the phase where the game turned. Most decisive period of play. It's a lot of action today. It's hard to pick a phase, but if you had to pick one, Tom?
I think when Brook got dropped, caught and bowled.
Yeah, simple as that, Bish?
That was critical.
Was he 45 or something?
Yeah, 42 or 45 or somewhere there.
Yeah.
That's the turning point to me. That's the difference between chasing 200 or chasing 220 plus.
Which they got close.
Yeah. If they wouldn't have finished with that 220 excess, this could have been a different game.
Yeah, and to KKR's credit as well, if we're trying to pick positives, their net run rate could have taken a tremendous hit here tonight, worse than it ended up being. So credit to them for that.
Right. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Tom Moody, Ian Bishop. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Did you enjoy your time here, Bish?
I'll try to be better tomorrow.
Oh, my God. No, don't do that.
Wow.
Enjoyable.
Such a good man. Learn something, Thomas.
Bish and I go back
a long way.
A long way.
Before he was born, actually.
Yeah, exactly. You weren't even a thought.
Brilliant. Thank you, Bish. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure talking cricket with these fine gentlemen. We've got quite the lineup tomorrow. Bangalore against Delhi. Delhi, come on, make the tournament interesting, would you? Otherwise, it looks like Bangalore red-hot favourites there. And you got clash in the evening, Lucknow against Punjab. So look forward to your company then for ESPNcricinfo T20 Time. I'm sure there'll be a lot said, done, written, lovely comments from both Tom and Bish about where Rinku Singh's path could lead after this IPL, not just because of it, but with what he's done in domestic cricket. And the ESPNcricinfo mobile app is what will have you covered with any of those stats that you want to have a look at, and comments from both camps in the aftermath of this game. Another double header coming our way. Look forward to your company then. Good night.